Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The Honorable Penelope Beckles-Robinson, Minister of Planning and Development, Senator Anthony Vera, all other senators present, Dr. Ishmael Khan, Chairman of the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Jonathan Barkant, Founder, Technical Director, and Chairman of the IAMovement, representatives of our esteemed corporate sponsors, the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, the Inter-American Development Bank, and I take the opportunity to recognize Ms. Karina Coburn, Republic Bank Limited, distinguished speakers and panelists, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to everyone here in person and watching online. I take the opportunity this morning to address you on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport, Senator Rohan Sinanan. Minister Sinanan greatly wanted to be here this morning and will be here later in the day. It's just some pressing matters came up urgently. Minister Sinanan expresses his gratitude to the IAMovement, winners of the IDB Superheroes of Development Award 2022, the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, and all of their partners for bringing us together. This conference demonstrates the synergistic effect that civil society, government, and the private sector can generate towards solving the complex and wide-ranging environmental problems we face as a small island developing state. Minister Beckles-Robinson would have highlighted the recognition by the government of Trinidad and Tobago of the ecological challenges facing us as a small island state, which are mirrored at different levels of intensity on a regional and global level, and government's commitment thereto. Closely aligned with this policy agenda outlined is one of the Ministry of Works and Transport strategic goals, being to implement green practices to reduce the carbon footprint and adopt green technologies and environmentally friendly conservation practices. This is part of the ministry's overall aim of undertaking sustainable infrastructure, of which green infrastructure practices are a major focus. This is an underlying goal of all the divisions of the ministry, with specific projects in such areas as construction, highways, drainage, and coastal protection. Now, infrastructure development plays an important role in developing nations. However, as a ministry, it is understood that successful construction projects should always incorporate a green concept that integrates green spaces and landscaping that improves aesthetics and reduces the environmental impact. As a ministry, we support a strategy to incorporate methods and technologies for the efficient use of natural resources. In this respect, the ministry has always placed emphasis on the adherence to the Environmental Management Authority's legislation to minimize the impacts of our projects on the environment. This is accomplished by ensuring that certificates of environmental clearance are obtained from the EMA and environmental impact assessments are conducted prior to projects. The ministry has also been spearheading recycling projects under its roadworks, use of cleaner energy by its commitment to the introduction of electric fleets in the area of public transportation, and energy conservation, as in the recent initiation of a solar energy project at the Piarco International Airport. As it relates to the conference being held today, the ministry, via its drainage division, was recently involved in collaboration with VetiverTT to incorporate vetiver grass in slope stabilization. And we want to thank VetiverTT for all the assistance provided. This site was in Santa Cruz, and efforts also involved the use of gabion baskets. The project demonstrated how natural slope stabilization methods can be implemented for community betterment and protection against erosion. I am told, and it has been stated already this morning, that vetiver grass, whose roots can grow up to 6 meters in depth, reinforces the soil structure while stabilizing the associated infrastructure, thereby minimizing the need for a retaining wall. In addition, the use of gabion baskets has been a long-standing method employed by the ministry in slope stabilization works. This application allows natural vegetation to grow within the packed stone or baskets, thus providing a natural finish to the project, while serving a critically environmentally friendly approach. Under the Highways Division, the Program for Upgrade of Roads Efficiency also makes use of vetiver as a bioengineering tool to solve land and water-related challenges, such as slope slippage and erosion. Furthermore, this method can be and has been used alone and in combination with other traditional hard-engineered solutions, such as coconut mats, geotextiles, gabion baskets, and retaining walls, depending on the project requirements. This is done while fostering a culture of reduction, reuse, and recycling of materials in all ministries' operations and activities where possible. Recently, the unit introduced the vetiver system on specific projects to provide structural reinforcement for the stabilization of slopes and the prevention of soil erosion at the Mova to Maritime project between the Eastern Main Road to Arno Avenue and at Bridge B124 in Togo. For the latter project, the vetiver plans were considered as the slopes on all 4 quadrants of the bridge are extremely steep, and the installation of the vetiver system, along with geotextile fabric, has proven to be most cost-effective to riverbank stabilization. As part of its efforts to address coastal erosion, our Coastal Protection Unit has undertaken many projects aimed at improving and protecting shoreline infrastructure and conducting studies that provide holistic approaches to long-term coastal management. Coastal areas will be increasingly affected by climate change as time goes on. To protect coastlines, the Coastal Protection Unit has a mandate to integrate green infrastructure solutions to enhance the efficacy of response. This was the case at the Quinam Beach Facility project, which was completed in November 2018. The slope stabilization measures included the installation of the vetiver system, which was utilized as a key erosion and control solution. It strengthened our institutional capacity to ensure sustained efforts towards environmental protection and enhancement. This project in particular we have seen as a success story for green infrastructure because since its implementation in Quinam, the vetiver system has effectively restored the existing slope. What was once an area in a state of advanced collapse, impassable, and unsightly is now firmly stabilized. Likewise, a recent shoreline stabilization project at Calma Pass included planting sea grapes and possibly establishing a mangrove forest to protect an eroding cliff. This project is still in its infancy, but it is expected to grow successfully in the next few years, proving once more that green infrastructure solutions are effective defenses against climate change. These are all naturally occurring solutions that can provide proactive protection against coastal erosion as well as flooding. These green infrastructure practices that I have outlined have delivered on treating stormwater at its source while delivering environmental, social, and economic benefits. It is becoming increasingly common for high-intensity rainfall to occur in a short period of time, so the need for better drainage infrastructure as well as innovation that improves groundwater recharge and water retention is growing. I anticipate that everything I have mentioned today, including the examples from the Ministry of Works and Transport, will be part of a larger chorus to implement green infrastructure more broadly across Trinidad and Tobago. At this juncture, I would like to advocate for the wider dissemination of the values of green infrastructure to the general public into implementation of individual owner building practices and management of runoff water. As a ministry, we have been taking steps to advise the population of the impact of everyday general habits and the benefits of green infrastructure practices, and we welcome and applaud the work being done by organizers of events such as this. Another positive theme which I see emanating from this event, based on the items that I see on the agenda, is addressing the area of funding, which is a key factor in sustainability. Hopefully, communities and entities will see that there are avenues to have these initiatives promoted and implemented. Just by what I've said so far, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that the area of green infrastructure and a number of the areas that will be dealt with today are of critical importance to the work of the Ministry of Works and Transport. We face a complex challenge of climate change due to years of environmental degradation, burning fossil fuels, and cutting down forests. In order to address the growing temperature of the Earth, we must return to nature and recognize its importance and place in the ecological system. This is a tall order, but I am encouraged by organizations such as IAMovement and socially responsible entities as NGC and others in Trinidad and Tobago that are leading the charge in educating the public about this new approach that positively considers and incorporates the biosphere. It is certainly a gateway to a sustainable future. And on behalf of the Minister of Works and Transport, I take the opportunity to encourage both the public and private sectors, as well as private citizens, to embrace the benefits of green infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.